Hey, so Keith, what's next?
Nissan's next.
Oh, ooh, wow! What's
right.
new for what's new in the news with Nissan?
We got some financial report data from Nissan. Their earnings call happened recently.
My wallet's gone. My wallet's gone.
So next is their marketing platform. It's their whole sort of vision forward for the company, I guess. So they announced their earning results for fourth quarter, which I need to kind of explain to everybody. Most automotive manufacturers operate on a fiscal year that doesn't line up with the calendar year. So, their fiscal year, their financial year does not end December 31st.
Right.
And they have reasons to do that. One of which is that they have, certain quarters of the year that are not as big of sellers, and they try to break that up. And okay, but I digress. So, we've commented many times on this program. And if you don't believe us, go back and listen to it. PartsCounterGuru.com. Hit the podcast tab. You'll find out. Nissan is, at times, it felt like they'd kind of lost their way. And then we saw some pretty great stuff come out of them. And we thought, this is really encouraging. Least of which is definitely the new Z. The Frontier looks great. If we've got a video out on that. If you want to check it out, you get a little in-person view. But I don't know really how else to say this, and they tried to paint this in a positive light, and there are some positives in their earnings report, but they're losing money, man, and they're losing more money this year than they lost the year before, to the tune of their operating profit was over the full year. So fiscal year 2020 compared to fiscal year 2019. Now, keep in mind, 2019 fiscal year includes some of 2018.
Right.
Their operating margin was negative 1.9%, down from negative 0.4% in 19. And then their profit was, their operating profit was negative 150 compared to their operating profit in 19 of negative 40.5. Now this is usually in the billions. I believe that's how they report it. But
it is.
It's not good, man. So and then they came back out and they said, we do not expect to hit the previously projected 8.6% growth increase. Mm-hmm. Because of, among other things, supply issues, and there's some semiconductor stuff that we could go into here in just a minute that's going to affect them. But I just don't feel good. It makes me nervous.
I feel really bad for Nissan for a couple reasons, because they've been such a great brand over the years, building quality vehicles, but then they had some trouble with a CEO that kind of ruined the whole thing for them, and that's where the downturn really started. That was in 2018 when the guy was
Carlos
like
running.
Yeah, he was.
I like to refer to him as the cello CEO.
Right.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, he snuck out of the country, and I think it was a cello case, right?
Yeah, he was in the cello case. Yeah, but he was, again, that was a downturn. But then, you started seeing the marketing team really kicking with the new Nissan Next Adventure, and then they
at
teased
first
us
they
with
didn't
some
know
things.
who to put in charge, and they kind of did this whole 3 different divisions, and then they kind of So, and he was a real visionary for that company for a very long time.
Right,
that certainly hurt them. So they're being aggressive. I think you have to be aggressive. When if you want to use a sports analogy, when you're down in the game, mean, you can't play conservatively. You have got to be aggressive. Certainly, their product development looks to be pretty aggressive. They've announced some engine development and R&D that they're doing on, some efficient engines and that sort of stuff that we've also talked about.
Right.
But it's, they're having to shut down plants in Japan because of the chip shortage. This makes me very nervous. So I guess historically, when you start to see things like this, they're usually, it could be followed by some sort of a merger or a shakeup of some sort.
Could be, but I tell you what, man, I hope that with what we just recently saw, where you were, when you did the videos on the Frontier and the Nissan Z, the new Z Proto that was out there, I hope that is somewhat of a savior for these guys. I do believe, obviously the Frontier to me, I considered the Frontier a flagship truck for those guys. Wouldn't you say for many years, right?
Yes, for sure.
And then of course they increased the size, and it's the Titan now, but that's not, to me, it's a large pickup truck. But this Frontier redesign that I'm really excited about, I hope that they sell these things like crazy, and that helps them out. But in this video segment here, guys, if you're watching, just make sure you scroll down a little further underneath our description. We're going to give you a link to this the Nissan financial report here. That way you can read it for yourself.
There you go.
That'll be fun for you to kind of tinker through and get some of the actual figures and numbers if you're interested in that. If you like counting those things.
Now, I do think that they did this the right way in their earnings report. I think that this positions them well for the long. I'm a huge fan of the long game. You play the long game. Always play the long game, everybody. Stop focusing on tomorrow and focus on next year and the next 5 years.
Right.
So what they did was they said, we're going to reduce our projected earnings down from what I said earlier. I think it was 8.3% growth or whatever.
Right.
And they cited reasons why, supply chain issues, shortages, increasing costs in a lot of their components. But here's the silver lining in that is they could now beat those earnings, and they've lowered the bar a little bit. If they come out and they beat those earnings, it's a huge rally for them, and they will be viewed by the market and the industry as a success, and people will start to perceive that as a turnaround. So, sort of conservatively estimating your earnings, although it's not going to make a lot of people happy initially,
No.
I think in the long game could really do them justice.
Overperforming what they predict would be the goal for them.
Under promise, over deliver, which in the stock market doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it remains to be seen. Until they can turn this thing around. And again, I think getting these vehicles into production and getting these semiconductors rolling in. Nissan's not by themselves in that regard. I'm sure we'll be talking more and more about the semiconductor problem soon.
Yeah. So just one final note here, and this will be a little bit of a positive to end on for Nissan. They are projecting to sell about 4.4 million vehicles this fiscal year that has just started. Now, while that is less than, they sold about 5 million, 4.9 million 2 years ago. Okay, so it's less than they did 2 years ago, but they only sold about 4 million vehicles a year ago.
Yeah.
So if they sold 4 million last fiscal year and they're projecting 4.4 million this year, that is growth, and they are headed back in the right direction.
Yeah.
But they've still got a long way to go.
If they can stave off any other hiccups in the production world, I think that they're going to be okay. I hope so. So follow up with us in the future, folks. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Click that bell to be notified for any upcoming videos. If you want to hear us talk about this again, we will follow up with Nissan on this thing and find out how they're looking, and hopefully we'll get some surprises here towards the end of the year. So
smack that subscribe button. Show them who's boss.
That's right. Thanks, guys.